Bring you high school boys basketball with the 5-7 Colfax Viking boys taking on the 3-9 Glenwood City Hilltoppers. The Vikings are coming off a 64-40 defeat at the hands of the Plum City Elmwood Wolves, while the Hilltoppers are coming off a 57-42 loss to the Cadott Hornets on Monday. The Vikings were supposed to play Spring Valley Cardinals on Tuesday. However, COVID at Spring Valley forced a postponement of that game. Now, coming up in this edition of Viking Pregame, we'll take a look at tonight's matchup between the Glenwood City Hilltoppers and the Colfax Vikings. Then we'll get Coach Noel's perspective on tonight's game in Coach's Corner. Following that, we'll bring you all the play-by-play action of tonight's game. So it's time to get ready for some exciting high school boys basketball. All that coming up right after this brief timeout. You're tuned to Viking Pregame on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV.
There is a road laid out for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
Welcome back to Viking Pregame, where we're getting ready to bring you all the action of tonight's boys basketball game between the Glenwood City Hilltoppers and the Colfax Vikings. The Vikings are looking to shake off the cold shooting that's been plaguing them since the COVID layoff. By doing that, they hope to be able to get back on the winning track. On Friday the 21st, the Vikings were defeated by the Plum City Elmwood Wolves 64-40. The Vikings were scheduled to take on the Spring Valley Cardinals on Tuesday, but now must face another COVID layoff, this time due to the virus causing issues at Spring Valley. In that loss to the Wolves, the Vikings were led in scoring by 5'8" sophomore Elijah Ensminger, who hit on 2 field goals and 2 3-pointers for 10 points. He was followed by Bryce Sikora and Jack Charlo, who picked up 7 points each, and Ryan Albright added another 6. Thus far in the season, the Vikings are led in scoring by Ensminger, who is averaging over 11 points per game. Following Ensminger is Nathan Hajdukovic, who's averaging nearly 10 points per game, and Charlo, who's adding just over 9. Leading rebounders for the Vikings include Tristan Lenz, who averages 7 rebounds per game, and Charlo, who grabs another 6. Glenwood City is coming into tonight's game with a record of 3-9 overall, 1-4 in the Dunn St. Croix Conference. They're coming off a 57-42 loss to the Cadott Hornets in a non-conference game on Monday. Leading the way for the Hilltoppers in that loss was senior guard Drew Olson, who hit on 5 field goals and 3 free throws and a 3-pointer for 16 points. He was followed by Brady McCarthy, who hit 3 field goals and 3 3-pointers for 15 points. Elick Anderson contributed another 6 points. Thus far on the season, the Hilltoppers are led by Olson, who's averaging nearly 10 points per game. He's followed by McCarthy, who's putting up almost 9 per game, along with Anderson, who's adding over 8 points per game. On the boards, the Hilltoppers are led by Olson, who's pulling down over 6 boards per game. McCarthy is also an effective rebounder for the Glenwood City Hilltoppers, grabbing over 4 rebounds per game. Now, the Vikings would like to find a way to get their shots to drop and make it possible to be relevant in the conference race. Meanwhile, the Hilltoppers are looking to make another tally in the winning column. Currently, the Vikings are averaging nearly 53 points per game while giving up an average of almost 62. The Hilltoppers are scoring an average of 41 points per game while giving up 51. These two teams met earlier this season, back on December 7th, with the Vikings coming out on top 65-37. Now, coming up next, following this timeout, we'll get the coach's perspective as we chat with Viking head coach Mark Noel on Coach's Corner. You're tuned to Viking Pregame on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV.
You're tuned to the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV. We use advertising revenue to make this service available to you. If you have a business and would like to get your message out to our ever-increasing audience, give us a call at 715-563-1749. We'll be happy to discuss our budget-friendly advertising packages with you. Get your business noticed on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV by calling 715-563-1749.
Time now to see what the coaches have to say. It's Coach's Corner, what they look at tonight's game from the coach's point of view. And now, Coach's Corner.
Once again, we're talking with Viking boys head coach Mark Knoll. And Coach, on Tuesday, the Vikings were informed that their game they had scheduled that evening against Spring Valley Cardinals needed to be postponed due to COVID concerns with the Cardinals. This had to be pretty frustrating following the COVID layoff the Vikings had to deal with just 2 weeks ago.
It is, but at the same time, we just kept plugging away. We went right back to practice, and we just got after it in practice and treated practice kind of like a competition day, and had a lot of drills, a lot of games that were competition. And I know when we left there, we probably felt like we played a game. So I tried to keep them as sharp as I could. And there's nothing we can do. I mean, it's the new world that we live in as of today, and that's something that we have to live with. And as long as we can stay positive, because we can't control what we can't control.
Well, and Dan and I were talking about that while broadcasting the girls' game on Tuesday, and saying that, I think this is something we're going to have to deal with for the foreseeable future from here on out. That you can plan on a schedule, but you just don't know. And Dan says, sometimes we just have to throw all caution to the wind and do what we've got to do.
Yeah, and I think that's probably what it was. It's probably a lot of caution in the wind right now.
Now, back on Friday, the Vikings took one on the chin. They were defeated by the Plum City Elmwood Wolves, 64-40. Okay, what can you tell us about that one?
Well, I mean, what I can tell you about that game is just that we unfortunately got off to a really bad start, and then it kind of snowballed. The first half kind of snowballed from there, and as you get off to a bad start, the rim gets smaller and smaller, and the rim got bigger and bigger for EPC, and I give them kudos. They had a couple of other kids that really stepped up. We held Webb to 4 points in the first half. If you told me we would hold Webb to 4 points at halftime, I would say we'd be right in the thick of it. And unfortunately, offensively, we just couldn't score.
Right. Now, watching the last couple of games the Vikings have been in, it appears as though your defense is hanging pretty tough, but the boys just don't seem confident in their shooting, which is part of that. Getting off to a cold start just makes the confidence go away. But that would explain why, they're taking pretty decent shots for the most part, but they're coming up short or just a little bit off. What can be done there?
What happened against EPC was, Webb is 6'7", so when we were getting good looks, but they were around him, and when they were around him, the boys were hesitant because they were afraid to get their shot blocked. And that's something that we talked about nonstop was, who cares if you get your shot blocked? Be aggressive, go at him, get him in foul trouble. But unfortunately, we played a little scared, and we had alligator arms on our shots.
Okay. So now, today, the Vikings are going to take on the Glenwood City Hilltoppers. Now, that's a team that they defeated 65-37 back on December 7th. What can you tell us about the Hilltoppers?
Well, Glenwood City, they're a very scrappy team. They play really hard. They will play physical. They don't score a lot of points, and they don't really handle the ball the greatest. So part of our plan is to try to speed them up, try to get them playing faster than they want to play. And by doing that, we should have some turnovers. And then we've got to create those turnovers into easy points so that we can see the ball going through the rim and build confidence from that. Glenwood's a team that has played better here as of recently. They beat Mondovi. Mondovi was shorthanded, but they still beat Mondovi. And they beat a team from Minnesota called Houston. So then they played Clear Lake to a 2-point game. So they have played, some good basketball here recently. So, but at the same time, it's more about us and what we've got to do, and we've got to speed them up, make it a fast game.
Now, when the Vikings have been successful this season, they've shown a lot of trust in each other to be in the right place at the right time. And it appears as though that trust was tested somewhat in that last game last week. What can the Vikings do to get that trust back that they had just a couple games ago?
Well, one thing that we always talk about, and I understand exactly what you're talking about, but one thing that we always talk about is really that trust factor also stems from communication. Well, our guys have got to really communicate. They've got to talk. They've got to let each other know. I always tell them there are no secrets in basketball. So we've got to be nonstop talking. And as we're nonstop talking and communicating in the court, that's how you know where each other's at, whether it's on offense or defense. So we want that communication at a high level. And I always joke that, we want all the old timers in Colfax to turn down their hearing aids because we're yelling so much.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, if you can hear it from my house, you're doing right.
Right.
Okay, Coach Noel, good luck on tonight's game. Hopefully the Vikings can find a way to get right back on that winning track.
I appreciate it, and thank you for everything you do for Colfax basketball. Go Vikings.
You've been listening to Coach's Corner, with a look at tonight's game from the coach's point of view. This has been a presentation of the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
Meet the scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you.
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Welcome back to Viking Pregame. The Vikings are frustrated with games being postponed due to COVID and are looking to get back on the winning track, which would keep them relevant in the Dunn St. Croix Conference race. At the same time, the Hilltoppers are looking to find a way into the winning column. So the stage is set for some exciting high school boys basketball. And we'll have all the action for you right here on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV. Now, in just a moment, we'll send it over to Colfax High School, where we're getting ready to bring you all the action of tonight's Dunn St. Croix Conference boys game between the Colfax Vikings and the Glenwood City Hilltoppers. That's all coming up next. You've been tuned to Viking Pregame on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN TV, and Viking TV.
Touchdown! Oh, did you see that? Whoa, we scored? Yeah, we scored. We're going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone. What? I should take your phone away. No. I'll call for a ride. Wait, why does my face look like that? I'm playing with these new face filters. Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine. I'm gonna need that back. No. Kevin!
You've been tuned to Viking Pregame with a look at today's Colfax Vikings boys game. This has been a presentation of the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV. Stay tuned. Coming up next is Light Colfax Viking basketball. It happens to everyone eventually. Your computer goes on the fritz. Fear not, Slayton's Technology Services can help. When your computer decides to not cooperate, it can be very frustrating. Let Slayton's Technology Services keep you from wanting to drive your computer right off a cliff. Slayton's Technology Services supports business of all sizes. They offer assistance with managed anti-malware, encrypted email, fast tech support, data backup, and recovery, and more. Call Slayton's Technology Services at 715-864-2833 and get the IT help you desire. Slayton's Technology Services is the official IT service for the Northern Light Webcasting Network. Colfax Viking basketball is on the air.
Lenz with the rebound puts it up and in. Christian Lenz gets the putback shot.
The Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV proudly presents tonight's Colfax Viking boys varsity basketball game.
And it's no good. Rebound taken down and put up and in. Ryan Albright with the rebound.
Join us as we head out to the gym for tonight's Viking basketball.
Inside, gives it off to Hoffman. Hoffman feeds underneath. The shot goes up and in by Nathan Hajdukovic.
Good cut there by Nate.
Good evening and welcome to Colfax High School. Rick Olson here, along with Dan Petschow, Jeff Gust on the camera, fans in the stands, and we're getting ready to bring you Colfax High School basketball. The Vikings are taking on the Glenwood City Hilltoppers in a game that's pretty important for the Vikings because they've been on a bit of a slide and they've had games postponed due to COVID. 2 of them due to COVID at Colfax a couple weeks ago. Then last week, a game against Spring Valley, or actually it was earlier this week, a game against Spring Valley got postponed. And so tonight they're just happy to be able to play. And they're taking on the Glenwood City Hilltoppers. Dan, what can you tell us about the Hilltoppers or the Vikings?
Yeah, for the Vikings tonight, I think it'll just be about stay disciplined, get the rebounds. I think Nick Jensen and Tristan Lenzo have big games. And just take care of business and get away with a win.
And that's the part that's really important because the last 2 games for the Vikings have been not very pretty losses. And granted, they were against some pretty tough teams, but you know, it doesn't matter when you're the kids on the floor. You're out there playing hard, and you come away on that much of a short end. It hurts.
Yeah,
and they'd like to fix that hurt tonight.
I think any sport, you like to get in a rhythm, and when they hit the COVID day, it just threw them right out of rhythm. And I mean, I can kind of see it starting to flow again. You know, it might take a couple games, and this may be the game to do it.
Well, whatever they do, they've got to find a way to make those shots start to drop because they've been having some trouble doing that. And maybe this will be the night that some of those, what would otherwise be good-looking shots, will start falling in the hole for the Vikings.
Yeah, you know, when they were winning, they were getting out on transition. And I think they lost their win. They couldn't do transition. They went to the half-court game, which sometimes isn't their thing. So, yeah, this will see how their season's going to roll here.
So the JV game tonight ran a little bit long. Not real long, but a little bit. And the Vikings came out on top in that one with Colfax defeating Glenwood City 43-28. So we've got about 5.5 minutes before we get started with the varsity game tonight, and we will take a bit of a timeout for some words from our sponsors, and then when we come back, Dan will have the starting lineups for tonight's game. So you're tuned to Viking basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN TV, and Viking TV.
Are your animals feeling a little under the weather? Give the nice folks at Colfax Animal Hospital a call. Bruce Buckley is just what the doctor ordered. In fact, he is the doctor, and he's ready to help. That's the Colfax Animal Hospital. Give them a call at 715-962-3380.
January is Financial Wellness Month. Weight loss and physical fitness are common New Year's resolutions, but your finances could probably stand to be leaner as well. Dairy State Bank will post tips all month on Facebook and Twitter to help you get your finances in shape. You can also access a library of information anytime in our online education center. Visit dairystatebank.com and click on the Education Center under the Resources tab. Dairy State Bank, banking on relationships. Member FDIC.
And we're back here at Colfax High School. Vikings getting ready to take on the Glenwood City Hilltoppers. And Dan, why don't you let us know who's going to play in tonight's game?
Yeah, here's the starters for Glenwood City. They're going to go with senior number 0, Brady McCarthy. Senior, number 2, Bryce Wickman. Senior, number 5, Drew Olson. Junior, number 22, Alec Anderson. And senior, number 25, Owen Swenby. For the Vikings, they're going to go senior number 2, Nathan Hajdukovic. Senior number 4, Bryce Sikora. Sophomore number 10, Elijah Ensminger. Junior number 23, Jack Charlo. And senior number 24, Ryan Albrecht.
And it appears to me, when looking at the Glenwood City Hilltoppers, that the guy to stop is that Drew Olson. By the way, no relation, but Drew Olson is averaging about 10 points per game, and that's the guy the Vikings have to focus the most on. But then, of course, if you do that, somebody else is going to come up and haunt you.
Yeah, it looks like it's pretty much a Drew Olson, Brady McCarthy show. So whoever gets the guard Drew Olson will have his hands full, and we'll see if we can get a stop there. But yeah, you always got to be ready for that next guy to step up for Glenwood City.
Okay. We're getting a little bit of word from Jeff on some of our technical things. I think that'll probably right about. Jeff's going, okay. He's saying, now you're sounding good. Kind of like having Jeff over there. He's monitoring at a different place along the line than we are, and so he can tell us if we're kind of screwed up with stuff. I was going to look something up here.
Yeah, if he wants, he could shut us off if we get too lippy over here.
Well, yeah, he can. Yeah, he's one of those silent but deadly guys. He'll just shut us down and. And I was just, here we go. This is the information I was looking for. Kind of. You know, you got to love cell phones. Okay, Glenwood City comes into tonight's game with a record of 3 wins and 9 losses. That's overall. They're 1-4 in the Dun St. Croix Conference.
Yeah, this will be a good test for Colfax. See how their conditioning has been this last week. I mean, you get another game off with Spring Valley, so that didn't help them at all, but we'll see.
Vikings come into the game with an overall record of 5 wins, 7 losses, and they are 2-3 in the Dun St. Croix Conference. Teams are over at the benches, and we're just about ready to throw it down to the public address announcer. Viking Athletic Director Mike Hodell for the national anthem, followed by the player introduction. So why don't we go ahead and send it down there right now?
Would everyone please stand at the table? Remove your hats and place your hand over your heart onto the flag as the national anthem is sung by Elena Smith and Ava Sedeby.
Whose broad stripes and bright stars through the
And there's the starting lineups for tonight's game. Those lineups again for the Hilltoppers: McCarthy, Wickman, Olson, Anderson, and Swenby. Anderson stepping into the center circle. For the Vikings, Hajdukovic, Sikora, Ensminger, Charlo, and Albright. Hajdukovic in the center circle for the Vikings. And we are getting ready to get things started. Officials checking with the scorers table. Steps in, balls goes up. Tip controlled by the Hilltoppers. Olson on it, gets it over to Wickman. Wickman in the backcourt. Takes it across the timeline. Feeds it over to the right side to Olson. He's high, wide, and right. Into the lane to Swenby. Swenby over to Anderson. Then out to Wickman. To Olson on the right side. Over to Swenby. Puts up the shot. No good. Rebound. Taken down by Anderson. Pass gets stolen. And down the floor comes Ensminger. Puts it up. It goes in. It's going to count. And Ensminger drew the harm. Elijah Ensminger using some of that transition you were talking about, Dan. Fouls on Wickman. It's his first personal, first team foul. Free throws up, no good. It's tapped out of bounds by Hajdukovic. It'll be Glenwood City ball. McCarthy to inbound it. Vikings putting on full court pressure. They get it over to Wickman. Still in the backcourt, back to McCarthy. He takes it across the timeline. Feeds it down to Anderson. In the right corner. Cross-court pass over to McCarthy. McCarthy out to Wickman. He's in the center circle. Feeds it over to the right side to Olson. Olson picks up his dribble. Tries to pass it down to McCarthy, but bounced it right on the sideline. And it'll be Viking ball. Maddie Barstead picked up the ball for the official. She's pretty used to that.
Used to handling the ball.
Yeah. Vikings have it. They get it to Charlo, then down into the right corner to Ensminger. Ensminger cross-court pass got tipped, and McCarthy has it for the Hilltoppers. Bringing it down slowly, crossing the center line, but stopping right there. Feeds it over to the left side to Wickman, down to the left baseline to Anderson, out to Wickman, then to Swenby, and the ball gets knocked loose. Vikings come down the floor with it. Sikora with it. He's on the right side, gets it out to Albright. Then Ensminger with a three. He hit the three! Elijah Ensminger with all 5 of the Viking points. 5-0, Vikings on top. Wickman to Olson. Or check, that was McCarthy to Olson. Now Anderson has it, gets it over to Wickman on the left side. He tries to take it into the lane, kicks it back out to Olson, puts the shot up, no good. Rebound tipped around, Anderson with it, puts it up and it goes through. Alec Anderson makes the score 5-2 Vikings. Ensminger double teamed high, wide, and right. Gets it over to Sikora. Takes it between the circles, into the paint. Pulls up the jump shot, it's no good. Rebound pulled away by Hajdukovic. Gets it out to Ensminger, three-pointer from the right side, no good. Put back up by Albright, and he hit it. 7-2, Vikings on top. Anderson with it in the forecourt for the Hilltoppers. Gets it over to McCarthy. Then on the right side to Wickman. Down into the corner to Swenby. Puts a shot up. No good, but he drew the foul. I think it's going to be on Charlo.
24.
That's on Albright. You probably learn listening to us often enough. When I say I think it's going to be on, it's usually wrong. First shot by Swenby is good. So just stay with us. We'll get the right name to you. Owen Swenby with his second shot. On the way, no good. Rebound, taken down by Charlo. Hits it over to Sikora, to Hajdukovic between the circles, over to Sikora. Back over to Albright on the left. Out to Sikora, he's standing in the center circle. Feeds it down to the right side to Ensminger, back out to Sikora, high, wide, and right. Gets it over to Ensminger. To Sikora on the right wing. Back out to Ensminger between the circles. Back over to Sikora on the right. Sikora back to Ensminger, swings it over to Albright. Albright tries to feed it into the lane to Charlo. Charlo tries to get the ball over to Hajdukovic, but the Hilltoppers got their hand on it. And McCarthy comes down the floor with it. Takes it down the right side. Gets it to Swenby down in the corner. Out to Olsen at the top of the key. Ball gets knocked away. But the Hilltoppers come up with it. But then Charlo steals it and down the floor he goes. Takes the left baseline. Lays it up. No good. Ball gets tipped out of bounds. And it's going to be Glenwood City ball.
Tristan Lenz and Nick Jensen in for Colfax.
Maybe Jeff will catch the official that's down along the baseline one of these times when we get a timeout, because he's pretty dramatic on his signal about which way the ball is going. Hilltoppers have it on the left side. McCarthy with it, over to Olsen on the left wing. Takes it down the left baseline. Feeds it over to Swenby on the right side. Turnaround jumper, no good. Lenz with the rebound. Feeds it over to Irwin. Irwin on the left side. He's on the wing. Cross-court pass. That's to Medine. Then they get it out high, and Jensen has it at the elbow. To Lenz on the right side. To Medine on the right wing. Cross-court pass over to Irwin. Three-pointer from the left side. No good. Ball's loose, picked up by Glenwood City. McCarthy with it. Feeds it over to the right side to Olsen. Back over to the left to Swenby. Swenby. Back over to Justin Moe is in there now for the Hilltoppers. Swenby has it. Into the lane to Olsen. Back out to Swenby from the left side. He hit the three-pointer. And the Hilltoppers cut it to 1. 7-6, Vikings on top. Medine with it. Feeds it to Jensen at the free throw line. To Lenz on the right side. One bounce into the paint. He puts it up and in.
Yeah, good move by Tristan Lenz there.
9-6, Vikings on top. McCarthy feeds it down to the right side. Again, that's to Moe. Now they've got it down on the left baseline to Anderson. Out to McCarthy, three-pointer. He hit the three-pointer. And we're tied at 9. 12:03 to go in the first half. Medine with it. Gets it over to Irwin. Irwin takes it into the left side, back out to Medine. Three-pointer on the way. No. Rebound, and we're going to get a foul called on Lenz for over the back. And the Vikings come in with a hockey line change. It's going to be the starters back into the lineup. Five in, five out. Hilltoppers to inbound. Game is tied. McCarthy gets it into Moe. Moe feeds it over to Anderson, who dribbles it off his foot, picked up by the Vikings. Ensminger has it left side, three-pointer, and he hit the three-pointer. That was a long three-pointer by Elijah Ensminger.
Yeah, that was college
from the high, wide, and left. Anderson has it on the right side for the Hilltoppers. To McCarthy. Cross-court pass over to Swenby. Tries to drive into the lane, gets denied. They get the ball back out to Jansen. To McCarthy on the right side. Takes it to the elbow, feeds it off to Moe on the left. Back over to McCarthy from the paint, puts it up and in.
Good ball movement by Glenwood City.
Feeding it down underneath for the Vikings is Hajdukovic. He kicks it out to Albright. Three-pointer's no good. Rebound chased down by Anderson. McCarthy on the dribble. Takes it across the timeline. Stops, feeds it over to Moe on the left. To Swemby down at the baseline. To Anderson in the paint. Back out to McCarthy at the top of the key. To Moe, to Swemby, to Anderson. Then it's over to Jansen. Jansen tries the right baseline. Nothing there. Gets it out to McCarthy. Then over to Anderson. And the Vikings steal the ball. Ensminger takes it down, puts it up, and then got fouled on the way up. Basket was good. And Ensminger is going to the line for the +1. 14-11. That foul is on Alec Anderson, his first second-team foul.
Yeah, and Sminger does a good job getting ball position and drawing the foul.
And the free throw is good. He does like to play that transition game you were talking about.
Yeah, he's got the speed to get out there and run.
Jansen with it on the left side. Double team. Feeds it down into the left corner to Moe. And Moe is going to get called. Oh, we're going to get a foul called. I thought they were going to get Moe for the travel.
Kind of a late whistle.
Foul's on Hajdukovic. Third team foul on the Vikings. First on Hajdukovic. Glenwood City inbounds it. Shot goes up by Olsen. He got fouled on the way up. And you could see it right here with Ensminger. He was over here on the left side, and he was just ready to take off, and nobody saw him.
Yeah. Fouls on Charlo.
Olsen's free throw is good. Second shot on the way. It's also good. 15-13. Vikings up by 2. Sikora to Albright on the left. Tries to feed it to Charlo down underneath. Charlo leaning one way, the ball went the other. Unfortunately, the way the ball went led out of bounds. So the Hilltoppers have it. Down the floor they come, but the ball gets picked up by Charlo. Tries to feed it to Ensminger. Saves it inbounds, but is picked up there by Jansen. Ball gets tipped away from behind. Vikings have it. Charlo with it. Down the floor comes Sikora. Sikora between the circles, and we got a whistle and a foul.
I think somebody put new batteries in Ensminger tonight. He just covered from baseline to baseline, back to baseline to get the ball back.
And he inbounds the ball to Sikora. They feed it over to Ensminger on the right side. Back out to Sikora. To Albright, to Sikora between the circles. To Albright on the left. Sikora between the circles. To Albright. Sikora. Takes a dribble, gets it back to Albright. Tries to feed it into the paint. Ensminger gets the tip ball. Back out to Sikora, back over to Albright. Back to Sikora. Feeds underneath to Hajdukovic. He lays it up and in. They let Hajdukovic get loose, and they found him. 17-13, Vikings on top. Glenwood City hustles back. Olsen has it, takes it into the paint, puts it up and in. Sikora quickly down the floor to Ensminger, back to Sikora on the right side. Takes it to the top of the key to Albright on the left, back out to Sikora in the center circle. Back to Albright to Sikora. Back to Albright. To Sikora.
I think they want that same play.
5-1 says he goes back to Albright. Nope, he went to Ensminger. You should have taken that bet, Dan. Now he's got it back to Ensminger, back to Sikora. Now it goes to Albright.
Let's see if
back
they try to get it into Hajdukovic.
To Albright, to Sikora. to Albright, to Hajdukovic in the corner. Cross-court pass to Ensminger. Drives the right baseline, puts it up, rattles around, no. Hajdukovic with the putback, it's no good, but he got fouled going up. (17-15), Vikings on top. Foul is on Drew Olson. It's his first personal, fourth team foul on the Hilltoppers. Shot is up, no good. We have a hockey line change for the Vikings, but
everybody gets to go except
for
Nate
Hajdukovic. Mitch Medine waiting to come in for him. Second shot, and it's good, and so Medine will come in. 18-15. Ball comes in to McCarthy for the Hilltoppers. Gets it across the timeline to Belize. Feeds it over to Swenby, who lays it up and in. 18-17, Vikings up by 1. Jensen has it at the free throw line. Ball gets tipped out of bounds. Last touch by the Hilltoppers.
Nick Jensen has to make sure he doesn't telegraph the pass.
Jensen feeds it out to Medine between the circles. Over to Irwin, back to Medine. And he tries to feed it over to Johnson. It was tipped by Glenwood City, but then dribbled on the sideline. So the Vikings will get it back.
Broken record. Mitch Medine has to not telegraph his passes.
Johnson has it on the right or left side. Back out to Medine between the circles. To Jensen at the free throw line. Feeds it down on the right side at the baseline is Lenz. His shot got blocked by Olson. And down the floor come the Hilltoppers. Hilltoppers have it down on the left side, but the Vikings come away with the ball. Irwin with it, across the timeline. Down on the left side to Lenz, back out to Irwin. Three-pointers on the way and good. Kyle Irwin with the three. Down the floor come the Hilltoppers. Belize with it, gets it over to Swenby. Gets it out high to McCarthy. Three-pointer, nothing but air, and it's out of bounds. And we have a timeout on the floor. So, Vikings 21, Hilltoppers 17. You're tuned to Viking basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV and Viking TV.
Anderson Bridges, located in Colfax, Wisconsin, has been manufacturing prefabricated steel truss bridges since 1989. With hundreds of bridges supplied nationwide, we suspect you've crossed our path. It may have been on a pedestrian or bicycle bridge, or how about a snowmobile, ATV, or golf course bridge? Anderson Bridges is likely to have manufactured it. Founded in 1989, Anderson Bridges has been a family-owned company since its beginning and are proud to support the Colfax Vikings.
On those days when you're hankering for something that's delicious and nutritious, simply stop by FitFam Nutrition in Colfax. They serve Herbalife meal replacement shakes, metabolism-boosting teas and protein coffees. They taste as good as they sound, and they're healthy. Come and visit the Bentons and let them prepare for you a simply sweet treat, or something for the chocoholic or coffee lover in you. FitFam is a slam dunk. That's FitFam Nutrition, complete with one-on-one wellness coaching and business opportunities. 1020 University Avenue in Colfax.
Back here at Colfax High School, Vikings on top, and they have the ball. Johnson on the right side. Then they try to feed it to Jensen. Ball got tipped, and Anderson comes up with it for the Hilltoppers. They get it over to McCarthy. McCarthy across the timeline. Over to the right side to Olson. He's high, wide, and right. Cross-court pass to Belize. Belize tries to feed it out to Olson. Ball got tipped out of bounds by Medine, so it'll remain Glenwood City ball. 21-17, Vikings on top. Belize with it in the center circle. Over to the left side to McCarthy. McCarthy tries to go to the paint, but he's shut down. Now he's double teamed, gets it out to Belize. Belize between the circles. Feeds it down to the elbow to Swenby, and ball gets knocked loose by the Vikings. Tristan Lenz comes away with it and hands it off to Johnson. Tries to feed it to Jensen. Fed it right to Jensen's feet. And so down the floor come the Hilltoppers. McCarthy with it. Gets it over to Olsen on the right side. To Swenby, and Swenby stepped out of bounds. And the Vikings will get the ball. Vikings doing another hockey line change. So it looks like Coach Knoll has gone to the platoon system.
Yeah, I think he's kind of found a rhythm he likes right now.
Vikings have it on the right side. Sikora feeds it to Hajdukovic, but his pass kind of got blocked on the pass, and the Hilltoppers have it. McCarthy has it high, wide, and right. Gets it over to the left side to Wickman, and we're going to get a whistle, and he stepped on the sideline. It'll be Viking ball.
Hey, good job by Ensminger to crowd in there.
Down the floor comes Sikora. Sikora feeds it over to Ensminger, to Albright between the circles, over to Ensminger on the left side. Down underneath, they get it out to Sikora. Three-pointer on the way, no good. Rebound. Fought over by a couple of Hilltoppers.
Yeah,
coming away with it is Wickman.
Almost a travel.
They feed it to the elbow. Anderson with a shot from there, no good. Hilltoppers chase it down, and Olsen's left foot kind of rocked onto the sideline. So the Vikings have it. Sikora with it. Through the center circle. Feeds the ball over to the right side to Ensminger, back to Sikora. Tries to get it to Charlo underneath. He finally gets a handle on. We're going to get a jump ball called. Possession arrow in favor of the Vikings. 3:53 to go in half number one. Vikings on top, 21-17. Feed it in to Charlo. He gets double teamed, lost his balance, and the ball goes over to the Hilltoppers. This is Wickman, high, wide, and right. Gets it over to McCarthy on the left. Now Anderson has it at the free throw line. Gets it over to Moe. Down underneath to Olsen, out to McCarthy, to Wickman from three, no good. Albright with the rebound to Ensminger. Ensminger coming down the right side. Puts a shake and bake on. That's the left side. Someday I'll know the difference. Out to Albright. Sikora now has it. He's got it between the circles. Back to Albright. To Sikora down in the right corner. Back out to Albright. To Ensminger on the left. Ensminger gets it over to Sikora. Back out to Ensminger, over to Albright. Albright cross-court pass to Sikora, and they're going to call Sikora for a travel before he started driving the baseline. So the ball goes over to the Hilltoppers. Sikora took that little stutter step before he started heading down the baseline.
Yeah, it was a good play. Just took an extra step.
Wickman with the ball in the back court, feeds it into the forecourt, and is picked up by Charlo, who throws it right back to Wickman for the Hilltoppers. Jansen with it on the left side. Gets it over to Moe, who gets it to McCarthy. His shot gets blocked. Down the floor, we're going to get a whistle and a foul in the backcourt, and the foul, I believe, is on Wickman.
Is that his third? It is.
That is his third. 15 foul. So Sikora on the dribble. Feeds it over to Ensminger on the right. Ensminger double teamed. Tries to get the ball. Hajdukovic comes over and grabs it. Tried to pass it out to Ensminger, but it was partially blocked, and Glenwood City comes away with it. McCarthy on the dribble. Takes it through the center circle. Feeds it over to Belize on the right side. And down along the right baseline to Jansen. Gets it out high to Anderson, and we're going to get a whistle and a foul. And we're going to get a foul called on Albright. Albright had his hands on each side of the ball and took a yank on it and got called for the foul.
They're going to give that to Sikora.
You're right. So the ball comes in. Jansen with it. Feeds it over to the right side to McCarthy. Knocked loose. Vikings pick it up. And we're going to get a foul call. I thought for a minute they were going to call traveling on Albright.
Is it Mitch Belize? Does that sound right?
Belize. It's his first personal, 6th team foul. Vikings will be in the bonus. We only have 1:30 left to go in the half, though. Been stuck on that 21-17 for a while. Vikings feed it down to the baseline. Hajdukovic gets it to Lenz, lays it up and in.
Hilltoppers
with
4 points.
They get it to Belize. Belize drives through the paint, puts it up. It's no good. Rebound taken down by Albright. Feeds it to Sikora. Drives down, passes across to Ensminger, lays it up and in. Reverse layup by Elijah Ensminger. 25-17, Vikings by 8. Down the floor, Belize has it on the left side. He gets it out to Jansen. Ball's loose on the floor. Lenz, we get a timeout call. Timeout call by Coach Knoll before Lenz traveled with it. So Vikings 25, Hilltoppers 17. You're tuned to Viking basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV and Viking TV.
Join us at the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV for exciting Colfax High School girls basketball. Our next game will be on Friday, January 28th when the Vikings travel to Durand to take on the Durand Panthers. Live coverage on the Northern Light Webcasting Network audio service and on NLWN TV begins with Viking pregame at 6:55 p.m. That's live Colfax Viking girls basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV on Friday, January 28th.
That's going to be a big one tomorrow night, Dan.
Yeah.
Durand's got 1 loss in the conference. Vikings undefeated in the conference. That's a pretty big battle in girls Dunn St. Croix Conference basketball. Vikings bring the ball down the floor, coming up on 40 seconds to go in the half. Ensminger has it high, wide, and right. Out to Albright between the circles. Over to Sikora. Cross-court pass to Ensminger from the left corner. Puts it up off the iron, no good. Sikora with it. Now they get it out to Albright. Then to Hajdukovic from 3, no good. Lenz gets the rebound. Feeds it to Hajdukovic, lays it up and in. A lot of hard work under there that time for the Vikings, but it paid off. 27-17, under 10 seconds. Anderson, we're going to get a foul called. Falls on Hajdukovic. 6th-team foul on the Vikings. Just under 6 seconds to go in the half. Anderson to inbound for the Hilltoppers. Gets it out to Jansen. Jansen out to McCarthy. A long shot is no good. And we've got halftime. So as we head to halftime, Vikings 27, Hilltoppers 17. Coming up, we have Viking halftime with the Viking profile and the Colfax High School report right after this timeout.
After you joined our family, it was like, I really do feel complete now.
Time Time now for Viking Halftime with this week's edition of Viking Profile and the Colfax High School Report. That's all coming up following this brief timeout.
Brandon met a girl on a dating app. He finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving.
She must be a keeper.
Time now for Viking Profile, where we take a closer look at one of the Colfax Viking players. And now, Viking Profile.
Today on Viking Profile, we're going to get to know Ryan Albright. And Ryan, you're a senior here at Colfax?
Yep.
And we know that you play basketball, but are you involved in any other activities here at school?
I'm also in track.
Okay. So when did you start playing basketball? What kind of an experience has that been for you?
Well, I started whenever tournament ball started back in elementary school, and it's just been really good throughout my entire life.
Okay, so what's the most important thing that you've learned playing basketball?
Teamwork. Always have to have good teamwork to have a good team.
So when you're not playing basketball or you're not here at school, what are some other things that keep you interested or occupied?
I like to hunt and fish, and then I also work on a farm.
Okay, that'll keep you plenty busy, won't it? Yep. Okay, a few rapid fire questions for you. Pie, ice cream, cake, or cookies?
Pie.
And your favorite kind?
Raspberry rhubarb.
Ooh, that sounds really good. We just might have to have some of that sometime. All right, your favorite color and why?
Blue, because I just like it.
Okay, and you know what? That's a perfectly good reason. All right, if you could have a superpower, what would that be and why?
I'd be able to fly because gas is too expensive.
Okay, and I understand that. All right, with a superpower like that, you're going to have a superhero name to go with it. So what's Ryan's superhero name?
Ryan.
Ryan, okay. All right, your favorite NBA team?
The Bucks.
All right, favorite collegiate team?
Wisconsin.
Okay, we're talking with Ryan Albright on Viking Profile. And Ryan, what are your plans for after high school?
I'm gonna go to college at Stout.
At Stout, do you know what you're going into?
Not yet. I'm still undecided.
Okay. How about a shout out to the family?
Hi, Mom and Dad.
Okay. And when people watch Viking games, where are they going to find you on the floor?
Pretty much anywhere. Mostly at guard, though.
Okay. All right. So we want to thank Ryan Albright for joining us today on Viking Profile. Coming up next, more Viking Halftime.
You've been listening to Viking Profile. This has been a presentation of the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
The thing that drives me every day as a dad is him. And there's this huge responsibility in making sure that he's a good person. It's okay to make mistakes. As long as it's coming from love, it starts to work itself out.
Time now for the Colfax High School Report with an update about what's happening at Colfax High School.
The Colfax Vikings athletics were back in full swing following their COVID layoff last week. Both the boys and girls basketball teams had 2 games, while the wrestlers also had 2 events. The Viking boys had a difficult time shaking off the rust from the COVID layoff in their games against Elk Mound and Plum City Elmwood. On Tuesday the 18th, the Viking boys took on the Elk Mound Mounders, where they had a difficult time mounting an offense as they were defeated 65-22. Then on Friday, the Vikings traveled to Elmwood, where they were defeated by the Plum City Elmwood Wolves 64-40. Those losses leave the Vikings with a record of 5-7 overall and 2-4 in the Dunn St. Croix Conference. The Viking girls had the opportunity to clean off the rust from the COVID layoff when they defeated the Glenwood City Hilltoppers 71-28 on Thursday the 20th. Then on Saturday, the Vikings traveled to Elk Mound to make up the game with the Mounders. Both teams came into this game undefeated in the Dunn St. Croix Conference. In a physical, defense-dominated game with the Vikings coming out on top, 42-29. Those wins leave the Viking girls with a record of 14-1 overall, 7-0, and sitting alone atop the Dun St. Croix Conference. On Thursday the 20th, the Bloomer Colfax Raptors wrestling team was defeated by the Cadott Hornets in a dual meet, 66-9. That loss leaves the Raptors with an 8-8 record in dual meets. Then on Saturday, the Raptors traveled to Shell Lake to wrestle in the Shell Lake Challenge. Winning a championship in that tournament for the Raptors at 160 pounds was Bowen Rothbauer with a 3-1 decision over Chase Fennier from New Richmond. The Bloomer Colfax Raptors placed 10th out of 14 teams at the tournament. This week, the Viking basketball teams have another busy schedule with 4 games total. The Viking girls will travel to Mondovi to take on the Mondovi Buffaloes on Tuesday. This will be part of a broadcast doubleheader on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV. Then on Friday, they will travel to Durand to tangle with the Durand Panthers. We're carrying that game live on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV. On Tuesday, the boys host the Spring Valley Cardinals. This will be part 2 of the broadcast doubleheader on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV. We will begin broadcasting same-day coverage following the girls' game at approximately 9:30. Then on Thursday, the boys will host the Glenwood City Hilltoppers. We're carrying that game live on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV. On Friday, the Bloomer Colfax Raptors will travel to Abbotsford to take on the Falcons in their Clover Belt crossover dual meet. Wrestling gets underway at 7 p.m. Now, coming up next week, the Bloomer Colfax Raptors will travel to Cadott for the Clover Belt Conference Tournament. That's on Saturday. The Viking boys basketball team will have 3 games next week. On Monday the 31st, the boys will travel to Prairie Farm to play in part 1 of a boys-girls doubleheader with the Prairie Farm Panthers. Then on Tuesday, February 1st, they'll travel to Mondovi to take on the Mondovi Buffaloes. This will be part 1 of a broadcast doubleheader with the girls' game versus Altoona from Colfax following shortly after. Then on Friday, the boys will wrap up their week by traveling to Durand to take on the Durand Panthers. We will carry all 3 of these games live on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV. The Viking girls are also scheduled for 3 games next week. On Monday, the 31st, they too will travel to Prairie Farm to take on the Panthers. This will be part 2 of the boys-girls doubleheader and will follow shortly after the boys' game concludes. The next night, February 1st, the girls will host the Altoona Railroaders. This will be part 2 of our broadcast doubleheader, with same-day coverage beginning shortly following the conclusion of the boys' game from Mondovi at approximately 9:30. Then on Thursday, February 3rd, the girls will wrap up their week by hosting the Boyceville Bulldogs. We will carry those games on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV. In other school news, the Viking dance team will compete in the regional dance competition in Hudson on Saturday, and the Dun St. Croix Honors Choir and Band performance will be held on Saturday. That's what's happening at Colfax High School for the week of January 23rd through the 29th.
You've been tuned to the Colfax High School Report with an update about what's happening at Colfax High School. Stay tuned. Coming up next is more Viking halftime and then second half action.
Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
You've been tuned to Viking Halftime. Stay tuned. Coming up is second half action of today's Viking game on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV.
can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? But now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
And welcome back to Colfax High School, getting ready to start the second half of today's game. Vikings on top, 27-17 over the Glenwood City Hilltoppers. So, during the Colfax High School report, it talked about the boys' game against the Spring Valley Cardinals that was scheduled for Tuesday. That did get postponed as a result of COVID at Spring Valley, and it has now been rescheduled. It will be part of a boys-girls doubleheader, and the boys will be playing Spring Valley in the first game of that doubleheader, and tip-off for that game is at 5:45, and then it'll be followed by the girls taking on the Plum City Elmwood Wolves, and that game will start after the first one ends, probably right around 7:15. Hilltoppers inbound the ball to start the second half. Olsen has it on the right side. Cross-court pass to Anderson. Jump shot from there, puts it up and in and draws the harm. Albright kind of ran into him, going up to block the shot.
Yeah, he swung around to box out and knocked him over.
Alec Anderson at the line. His shot is on the way, rattles around, no good. Albright gets the rebound. Sikora with it. Through the center circle over to the right side to Albright. Feeds it to Sikora, went off his head and out of bounds. Sikora trying the soccer pass there. It didn't work.
Way to use your head.
All the other cliches that we could throw in there. Ball comes down the floor. This is Wickman with it. Gets it over to McCarthy. Out of Swenby. Over to Wickman on the left side. He's high, wide, and left. Bounce pass to Olsen at the elbow. Puts it up, no good. Rebound taken down by Ensminger. It was going out of bounds, but Ensminger threw it inbounds and off of Swenby. So the Vikings will have the ball. Sikora to Hajdukovic, back to Sikora. Sikora's going to bring it down the floor. Over to Ensminger. Down into the corner to Sikora. To Lenz in the paint. Puts it up, no good. Charlo with the putback, and he got it. 29-19. Vikings by 10. McCarthy to Anderson. Double teamed in the backcourt. Finally gets it into the forecourt. Ball gets knocked away and out of bounds. Hajdukovic tried to save it, but the feet came down a little early for him. Hilltoppers with it. Wickman across the timeline. Feeds it down the right side to Olsen. To the left elbow to McCarthy. He backs out to the left wing. Passes to Swenby and then down underneath Anderson. Back out to Swenby at the free throw line. No good with that shot. Vikings coming down the floor. Sikora quickly feeds it underneath the Charlo reverse layup. No good. And here come the Hilltoppers right back again. Wickman across the timeline to McCarthy. Back to Wickman. Wickman down the right side to Olsen. Cross-court pass over to McCarthy on the left. Puts up the jump shot, no good. Rebound, battled for, and finally coming away with it is Olsen for the Hilltoppers. He puts the shot up. It's good, and we're going to get a foul on Ensminger.
Colfax got caught being a little flat on that series right there.
Olsen's free throw is up. It's good. By the way, that was the first foul on Ensminger. Second team foul on the Vikings this half. Sikora on the dribble. Feeds it to Lenz. Cross court out to Ensminger. Three-pointer on the way. Bounces and in. That hit the rim 3 times before it decided to drop through.
He has 16.
Hilltoppers get it across the time. Swenby with the shot, no good. Vikings come away with it. Get to Lenz, who lays it up and in.
Tristan Lenz having a good game. He's got 6.
Hilltoppers with it. McCarthy over to Wickman across the timeline. Down into the left corner. Ball gets knocked away by the Vikings. Ensminger has it in the left corner for the Vikings. Gets it out to Hajdukovic. Over to Sikora. Hajdukovic to Lenz. Gets it down to the baseline. Charlo tries to go up, got fouled. I think it's going to be on Olsen. It is. That's the second foul on Olsen. First team foul. Jack Charlo at the line. First one's on the way. Off the air, no good. Hit the front of the rim, backboard and off. Charlo's second shot. It's good. 35-22, Vikings by 13. And we get a timeout called by the Glenwood City Hilltoppers. With the score, Vikings 35, Hilltoppers 22. And you're tuned to Viking basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV and Viking TV.
Are your pooch's proportions putting on pounds? Or is your kitty's constitution constantly complaining? Well, stop by and see the friendly folks at the Colfax Animal Hospital. Dr. Bruce Buckley and his staff will be happy to help you get your family friend back on the road to healthy living. That's the Colfax Animal Hospital. Call them at 715-962-3380.
January is Financial Wellness Month. Weight loss and physical fitness are common New Year's resolutions, but your finances could probably stand to be leaner as well. Dairy State Bank will post tips all month on Facebook and Twitter to help you get your finances in shape. You can also access a library of information anytime in our online education center. Visit DairyStateBank.com and click on the Education Center under the Resources tab. Dairy State Bank, banking on relationships. Member FDIC.
Back here at Colfax High School, Rick Olson, Dan Petchow, Jeff Gust on the camera. Bringing you Viking basketball. Hilltoppers with it. Olson has it, and we get a whistle. They called it an out of bounds. A little bit of substitution going on for the Hilltoppers. Ensminger inbounds it to Sikora. Sikora to Ensminger on the left side. He dribbles it out to between the circles to Hajdukovic. Back over to Ensminger now on the right. Feeds it to Charlo at the elbow. Ball gets loose on the floor, and it's tied up. Charlo did a nice job of tying it up with his legs. He wrapped it and hugged it with his legs, causing the jump ball. Vikings with the possession arrow. Ball comes in to Ensminger. To Hajdukovic. He's out between the circles. Over to the left side to Sikora. To Charlo at the baseline. Goes and lays it up and in. 37-22. Anderson across the timeline for Glenwood City. Gets it to Moe down at the baseline. Back over to Anderson. Then back over to Jansen. Shot is no good. Charlo feeds it over to Hajdukovic and then over to Sikora on the right side. Vikings with the ball into the paint. Charlo with a little jumper that just kind of made it over the front of the rim and in the hole. 39-22. Here come the Hilltoppers. McCarthy with an 8-footer, and he hit it. 39-24. Vikings with the Ensminger with a 3 from the right side. In and out, no good. Rebound grabbed by Hajdukovic, gets it to Lenz. His shot partially blocked, and we're going to get a foul called on Lenz. Anderson had the ball. Lenz trying to get it and got more of Anderson than he got of the ball. Second foul on Lenz. Third team foul on the Vikings. Jensen into the lineup for the Vikings, along with Albright. Long pass down, it goes out of bounds. Mo couldn't control it along the sideline for the Hilltoppers and went off his hands, out of bounds. Ball comes into Sikora. He brings it down the floor, across the timeline. Over to the right side to Ensminger. Over to Sikora in the corner. To Lenz in the paint, and he took a step. His arms thought about dribbling. They thought second about it, but his feet forgot to think second about it.
He turned around, and there was a couple of Glenwood City guys there. Messed up his rhythm.
So the Hilltoppers have it. Pass across in the backcourt, and they got Lenz again for a travel. He doesn't know how he traveled that time. He thought he was going up to the basket. Coach Noel saying, settle down, settle down. Jansen inbounds it. Hilltoppers have it into the forecourt. Mo with it. Gets it out to McCarthy. High, wide, and left. Takes it between the circles. Over to Belize on the right side. Down to Mo. Back out to Belize. To McCarthy. They swing it around. Jansen. Then they get it over to Belize on the right side. Puts it up from the paint. No good. Jensen with the rebound. We're going to get a foul. Foul's going to be on Mo. So he was trying to knock the ball loose.
That's his first.
Second team foul. Sikora with it across the timeline. 12:08 to go. Ensminger with it on the right side. Tries to get it to Jensen. Ball gets taken away, and down the floor is Jansen. Fakes the pump, then puts it up. It's no good. Rebound. Chased down. Sikora with it. He's on a solo flight. Lays it up and in. Bryce Sikora with a solo trip down the floor. McCarthy gets it to Mo. Feed it to Belize. Cutting down through the lane. His shot is up, no good. Rebound taken down by Jensen. He puts it up, Jansen. Jensen gets the rebound for the Vikings. Ensminger with it, tries to put it up, and no foul called, and Ensminger couldn't believe it. Here goes Belize with a layup and puts it in. So the Vikings come back down the floor. A little mistimed jump that time by Albright as they were trying to feed it over to Albright on the right side. Albright jumped up to get it, and the ball didn't quite get there in time.
Boats pass. That's what Sikora should have done there.
So the Hilltoppers have it. Jansen to inbound it to Wickman. Oh, check that. That's McCarthy. Over to Jansen. Back to McCarthy. Down underneath to Olsen. Puts it up from the left baseline. No good. Rebound. Chased down. Finally, Ensminger gets it. Ensminger quickly down the floor for the Vikings. To Sikora. To Lenz from the free throw line. Shot is no good. Rebound chased down by the Hilltoppers. Olsen with it. He's on the right side. Takes it into the paint. Got his pocket picked. Sikora with it. And finally pushes it over to Jensen, who gets it back to Sikora. To Albright, back to Sikora on the left side. Now he slows things down, takes it out high to between the circle, top of the key. Over to Ensminger in the right corner. Tries the right baseline. Thinks about it again. Feeds it. They've got it to Lenz in the paint. Puts it up, no good. Gets his own rebound. Puts it up, no good. Gets it back again. This time he got fouled going up. Tristan Lenz working his tail off and got rewarded by going to the free throw line.
Yeah, he's got 6 points and they're all earned.
Foul was on Justin Moe. It's his second, third team foul. First free throw, nothing but net. Irwin into the lineup for the Vikings, giving Ensminger a chance to catch his breath. Lenz's second shot is in. And Charlo into the lineup, giving Lenz a chance to earn or to get his hard-earned break. He worked really hard underneath that last time down. 43-26, 9:57 to go. McCarthy with it. He's out near the center circle. Feeds it down to the left corner. Driving the left baseline is Anderson. Feeds it over to Wickman. Wickman tries to get it in. We're going to get a foul called. I think it's on Irwin. It is. It's Irwin's first foul. Fourth team foul on the Vikings. McCarthy with it in the backcourt. He comes across the timeline. He's got it between the circles. Feeds it over to the left side. Now back between the circles to McCarthy. McCarthy over to Wickman on the left. Takes it down to the baseline, double team there. Feeds it to Anderson, out to McCarthy at the right elbow. He gets it to Jansen, back over to McCarthy, then over to the left side to Wickman. Wickman down in that left corner, gets it out to McCarthy. McCarthy between the circles to Jansen. And we have a whistle.
Should be on Albrecht, I would guess.
Yeah, we do have a foul on the floor. And it is on Albright. Ryan Albright's third foul. Pass into Swenby, and his shot was no good, but he got fouled.
Let's see what they got.
Looks like the foul is on Nick Jensen. It's his first personal. 16 foul on the Vikings. Swenby at the line for two, and after he shoots these, first one's no good. The Hilltoppers will be in the bonus. .9:02 to go. Swenby's second shot on the way, rattles in, out and in. And coming in is Drew Olson. Max Jansen takes a seat. On the floor come the Vikings. Irwin with it. High, wide, and right. Gets it over to Albright. Albright almost fell over the timeline. Gets it back over to Irwin. Then to Albright. Charlo takes it down the paint, puts it up and in, and we're going to get a foul. He drew the harm from Swenby. That's Swenby's first personal. Fourth team foul. The +1 shot is no good, but the rebound's chased down by the Vikings. Sikora has it, gets it on the left side to Albright, to Jensen, back to Albright, to Sikora, into Charlo, then out to Irwin, three-pointer on the way, no good. Olsen with the rebound. Down the floor. Anderson on the right baseline. Tries to feed it back out to Olsen. Ball's picked up by Irwin. Gets it to Charlo, lays it up and in. 47-27, Vikings by 20. McCarthy with it. Brings it across the timeline. Feeds it over to the right side to Anderson. Back out to McCarthy from the top of the key. No good. Loose ball on the floor. Scrambled for, and we're going to get Jump ball. Possession arrow in favor of the Hilltoppers. Wickman to inbound. Pass comes into Anderson, shot's no good. Jensen with the rebound. Down the floor comes Sikora. Feeds it over to the right side to Albright, to Sikora in the right corner, to Jensen from the right side, no good. Rebound, Charlo puts it up, no good. Olsen on the dribble for the Hilltoppers, between the circles at the top of the key. Gets it over to McCarthy on the left. Cross-court pass to Wickman on the right. Feeds it out to Olsen high, to McCarthy on the left. Tries the left baseline, no good. Coming away with the rebound is Jensen. Looks like the Vikings have another hockey line change coming up. Irwin feeds it over to Sikora on the right. Out high to Albright, to Jensen. Double team, but we're going to get a foul. And I think it's on Wickman, or McCarthy. It is. That's the 5th team foul. Coming into the lineup for the Vikings, we have Lenz. We have Swanson making his first appearance of the night. Hajdukovic, Ensminger, and Medine. Ensminger with it, high, wide, and right. Gets it down to the left corner to Medine. He dribbles it back out high to Hajdukovic between the circles. Stops at the free throw line, feeds it underneath to Swanson, puts it up, no good. Gets his own rebound, puts it back, and it's good, and he drew the foul. Austin Swanson going to the line for the +1.
Austin Swanson, big body down there. Tough to guard
He's really
him.
come on in the last few games. Swanson with, we have a whistle and a
what do we got?
Lane violation on, I think on Swanson. I think he stepped on the free throw line. So the ball went over to the Hilltoppers. 49-27, Vikings by 22. Hilltoppers have it on the right, or on the left side. Olsen with it. Over to the right side to Belize. Belize double teamed. Feeds it to Anderson, then down to the right baseline, putting it up and in is Mo. And down the floor comes Hajdukovic. Over to Ensminger, three-pointer, a little bit long. Swanson gets the ball and...
Guess he was out of bounds.
Yeah, evidently. I think what might have happened there is he may have stepped on the baseline before and then went in the air to save it. The save was good if he hadn't stepped on the baseline first. And we have a timeout on the floor. Vikings 49, Hilltoppers 29. You're tuned to Viking basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV and Viking TV.
Simplify your life. Pleasant Valley Properties provides affordable housing and homes in communities in Wisconsin, North Dakota, South Dakota, and Nebraska. They have staff available to help you locate the home that best meets your needs and desires, as well as service staff that maintains the properties. Contact Pleasant Valley Properties at 715-226-6200. Call today and let them help you get into the home of your dreams. That's Pleasant Valley Properties, 301 Bremer Avenue in Colfax.
Back here at Colfax High School. Vikings on top 49-29. Rick Olson along with Dan Petchow, Jeff Gust, bringing you Colfax Viking basketball. We've got another one coming up tomorrow night. Viking girls travel down to Durand to take on the Panthers. That ought to be a heck of a game. First place in the Dun St. Croix on the line. Coming across the timeline is Wickman for the Hilltoppers. They get it over to Mo, to Olsen in the paint, puts up the shot, and he got fouled by Swanson. Swanson went up for the block and got part of Olsen at the same time. That's his first personal. It's the 7th team foul on the Vikings. Olsen's first shot is on the way. It's no good. Second shot up. Rattles around, no good. Lenz with the rebound. Hajdukovic across the timeline for the Vikings. Over to the right side to Ensminger. Ensminger down into the corner to Hajdukovic. Gets it to Lenz. Lenz tried to feed it into the lane. Ball got knocked loose, but the Vikings come away with it. Medine with it. He loses the handle, and the Hilltoppers come up with it. Olsen high, wide, and left. Feeding it down the left side to Mo. Ball got knocked away from Mo by Medine, and down the floor come the Vikings. They feed it off the backboard for Lenz. It was kind of a nice-looking play, but he just couldn't make it go in. You could tell Ensminger wasn't really shooting the ball.
Ensminger had something in his mind, and Lenz wasn't on the same page.
And the ball did go out of bounds off the Hilltoppers, so it'll be Viking ball. 5 minutes to go. Vikings inbound to Lenz. Takes it into the paint, off the glass, no good. Rebound being battled for underneath.
See who they got. 44.
It's Austin Swanson with his second foul. So we walk the length of the floor. Justin Moe at the line for the 1-on-1. That's the 8th foul on the Vikings. First shot's up and good. Second shot on the way, and it's good. 49-31. Vikings by 18. Pass to Medine. He takes it across the timeline on the left side. Cross-court pass over to Ensminger. Then his pass out to Hajdukovic was a little bit hot, but he chased it down. Lenz has it. Back out to Hajdukovic. Spins at the free throw line. Feeds it out to Medine. Medine between the circles. Takes it over to the right side. Gets it to Ensminger. To Hajdukovic. Hajdukovic takes it down the paint. Ball got knocked loose. Saved by Lenz. And down the floor comes Mo. He puts it up, no good. Rebound taken down by Lenz. To Ensminger. Down the floor comes Ensminger. Down to the baseline. Puts the shot up, and he got fouled. And they're going to say the foul was on the floor, so Ensminger's going to go to the line for the 1-on-1. Sikora into the lineup for the Vikings. Free throw rims around and out. Ball's being chased down, picked up by Swanson, gets it to Lenz. Lenz out to Ensminger, to Sikora. Sikora with the ball on his hip, waiting for someone to come out and guard him. Whoops, we got a foul being called on Olsen. I think we're going to start heading to the free throw line quite a bit now. That's the 4th foul on Olsen. Swenby into the lineup for the Hilltoppers, replacing Olsen. Sikora at the line for the 1-on-1. That's the 8th team foul on the Hilltoppers. First shot is up. It's good. Second shot rattles in. 51-31. Hilltoppers with it. Long pass into the forecourt. They get it to Mo on the baseline. Feeds it out to Anderson. Puts up the shot. No good. Rebound by Swenby, and we're going to get a foul called on Medine on the rebound. Got Swenby on the side of the head with his arm. That's the first foul on Mitch Medine. A little bit of a mismatch there. Swenby's shot is up. It's good. Second shot on the way. It's also good. 9 points tonight for Swenby. Lenz gets the ball in. We're going to get a foul. I think it's going to be on Swenby. It is.
Could be his second. Yep.
And that's the 9th team foul, and so we walk back down the floor the other way. Mitch Medine to go to the line for the 1-1. First shot is on the way. It's good. I guess turnabout's fair play there. Medine's second shot on the way. Nothing but net on that. Barely even moved the net as it went through. McCarthy on the dribble through the backcourt. Across the timeline to Blees, to Anderson, over to the left side to Mo. Mo tries to get it into the paint. Swanson intercepts, gets it to Sikora, feeds it to Ensminger, lays it up and in. Some real nice ball movement by the Vikings, and we have a timeout being called. 3:07 to go, Vikings 55-33. You're tuned to Viking basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV and Viking TV.
When you've checked that hayfield and find it's time to harvest, give a call to Aaron's Custom Baling. Aaron will provide you with 4x5 net-wrapped round bales. He can even give your bales that spruced up look with select custom netting if you'd like. Serving Western Wisconsin, that's Aaron's Custom Baling. Call 715-202-0118.
Join us at the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV for exciting Colfax High School boys basketball.
This is what we came here for!
Our next game will be on Monday, January 31st when the Vikings travel to Prairie Farm to take on the Prairie Farm Panthers. This will be part 1 of a doubleheader from Prairie Farm with the Viking girls to follow. Live coverage on the Northern Light Webcasting Network audio service and on NLWN TV begins with Viking pregame at 5:25 p.m. That's live Colfax Viking boys basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV on Monday, January 31st.
Back here at Colfax High School, Vikings on top 55-33. Hilltoppers coming down the floor. They get it over to Wickman, to Anderson down in the corner, back out to Wickman. To Olsen at the free throw line, over to the left baseline, to Anderson, back out to the elbow, to Olsen, and puts the shot up and in. From the left elbow, 55-35. Vikings get it to Johnson. Johnson on the dribble across the timeline. Looking for somewhere to go, feeds it over to Swanson. Swanson stepped on the baseline. He got tied up down there looking for somewhere to go, and in the process of trying to find it, put his foot on the baseline. Hilltoppers with it. McCarthy through the backcourt across the timeline. Takes it right into the lane. Kicks it out. Shot is up. No good. It gets kicked out of bounds. That shot was by Brendan Booth. It'll be Viking ball. Johnson to inbound. Hilltoppers putting on full court pressure. Irwin tries to feed it down the floor, and the ball got intercepted. Wickman with it. Gets it over to Jansen. Jansen down the right side. Gets it out to Olsen. Cross-court pass over to the left side to McCarthy. Tries the left baseline. Bounce pass over to Jansen on the right baseline. Puts it in. Johnson for the Vikings. Has the ball. Leaves it over to Irwin. Back to Johnson across the timeline. To Medine. Out to Irwin. Ball gets tapped out of his hands, but he got it back. And then we're going to get a blocking foul being called against Max Jansen. Vikings up by 18. Kyle Irwin to go to the line for the 1-and-1. First shot is up. No good. Second shot on the way, also no good. And we've got a foul on the rebound being called on Swanson. Going up over the back. That's his third personal. Olsen will go to the line for the Hilltoppers. Shot is up, it's good. Vikings by 17. Second shot, make that 16. 55-39. Substitute Belize into the lineup.
It's a pretty big hill for Glenwood City to crawl up, but it's just that little bit of hope yet.
Well, and they're scrapping. Ball got tipped and out of bounds. Last touch by the Hilltoppers. Medine to inbound for the Vikings. Pass into Johnson. He's on the left side. Takes it down to the baseline. Double team down there, looking for somewhere to go, and we're going to get a jump ball called. McCarthy reached in and grabbed hold of the ball. Possession arrow in favor of the Vikings. Ball comes into Irwin. Three-pointer on the way, off the iron, no good. Johnson tries to go back up with it, but it got partially blocked. Ball's loose on the floor, and we're going to get
timeout.
Timeout being called. You're right. So, 55-39, and you're tuned to Viking basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN TV, and Viking TV.
Join us at the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV for exciting Colfax High School girls basketball. Our next game will be on Friday, January 28th, when the Vikings travel to Durand to take on the Durand Panthers. Live coverage on the Northern Light Webcasting Network audio service and on NLWN TV begins with Viking pregame at 6:55 p.m. That's like Colfax Viking girls basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV on Friday, January 28th.
Hilltoppers try the long inbound pass. It was intended for Wickman and went out of bounds. So it'll be Viking ball. Johnson to inbound it for the Vikings. Gets it into Irwin, back to Johnson. It's in the backcourt, a minute 14. To Irwin on the right side. Over into the left corner. Medine three-pointer on the way, no good. Rebound being fought around. And the Hilltoppers come away with it. Belize over to Wickman on the right side. Feeds it down underneath. That's to Booth. Out to Olsen. From three, no good. A rebound chased down by Irwin. 47 seconds left. Irwin out to Johnson. Now they get it to Lenz on the baseline. Ball gets knocked loose. Picked up by Medine. Over to Swanson. Puts it up and he got fouled. Austin Swanson to go to the line.
Number 2 for
That's
Clemens.
Bryce Wickman. It's his 4th foul. First shot is up, no good. Both teams in the double bonus. Olsen checks out for the Hilltoppers. Coming in is Swenby. Swanson's second shot on the way. That one doesn't even catch iron. Air ball, so it'll be Glenwood City ball out of bounds.
Little chuckle there by Swanson.
McCarthy with it, across the timeline. Feeds it over to Belize. Long three-pointer went in. 55-22, 13-point lead for the Vikings. And getting tied up in the backcourt is Johnson. And we're going to get the foul called. I think it's on Belize. It is. It's the second. 18.7 seconds. Johnson go to the line for 2. First shot is up, no good. They got 3 more players coming in. Yarrington, Nigaman, and Hoffman are in for the Vikings. Seeing a little bit of court time in varsity action. Second shot up. That one's no good. Rebound, knocked out of bounds.
Stays with Colfax.
So the Vikings will inbound it. Johnson looking for somewhere to go with it. Gets it in off the back of the iron by Yarrington. Down the floor, and we get a whistle and a foul. Foul's going to be on Yarrington as Belize is going to go to the line. He went up with the layup, and Yarrington was trying to close the gap. Coach Noel over there getting some high fives or fist bumps from the Viking fans. First shot is no good. Mitch Belize. 10.6 seconds. Second shot. That one's good. 55-43. Vikings by 12. Johnson on the dribble. Looking for somewhere to go with it. He's double teamed. Ball gets taken away, and there goes the horn. So our final score tonight, Vikings 55 and the Glenwood City Hilltoppers 43. We're going to have Viking post-game coming up in just a couple moments, and we'll do that right after this timeout on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN TV, and Viking TV.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us for Colfax Viking Boys Basketball. This has been a presentation of the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV. Stay tuned. Coming up next is Viking Post Game, where we'll take a look back at today's Viking game.
Time now for Viking postgame. a wrap-up of today's Colfax Viking boys game. And now, Viking postgame.
And we're back here at Colfax High School. Now we're back here at Colfax High School as Jeff gets the button pushed at the right time, waiting for Coach Knoll to come up. He's on his way up the bleachers right now. Is a pretty happy Coach Knoll, getting a lot of pats on the back coming up tonight as the Vikings pick up a very much needed win, even up their conference record at 3-3. And of course, he keeps getting sidelined on his way up. Here he comes. And Coach, congratulations. That was a much needed win.
Yes, it was. We needed it. The kids needed it for their confidence, all of that stuff.
All that stuff we were talking about in the pregame show, it kind of all came together tonight.
It did. And like we talked about, defense first. Our defense leads to our offense. And we had obviously a 20-point lead late, but I wanted to make sure we get everyone a lot of playing time. And the refs were picking on Swanee for being too big.
Well, I'll tell you what, the kids went out there and they worked hard. There was one situation down under the basket where Tristan Lenz put one up, missed it, worked his tail off, got the rebound, put it back up, missed it again, worked really hard, got the ball back, put it up, didn't get that one, but drew the foul.
Yeah.
And went to the line and got some free throws.
There was a lot of second, third, fourth chances, and that they just kept working. It was a great effort by the boys tonight. They just really got after it.
And that was a big thing for the boys because it evened up that conference record at 3-3. That's kind of nice to be at least at 500 at this stage of the game in the conference. And the overall record is 6-7. You're only one game below 500.
Yep. I think we're 4-4 now in conference.
That could be.
It's all right.
Could be. I was looking at old numbers, and so
okay.
Yeah, you're probably. I knew that it evened you up.
Yes, it does. It does even us up.
So that's okay. I'll take your word for it.
I want one more win in there. So we're.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all. But yeah, you got a lot of guys some serious playing time,
and that really helps us. So I think most people probably aren't used to seeing 5 in, 5 out like we kind of did tonight.
The girls did that a couple of years ago. They used to do this,
Yep.
and that's why the term that I like to use is it's a hockey line
It's
change.
kind of a hockey change, yeah.
Yeah.
But if you notice, that last 90 seconds of the first half, I think we went on a 6-0 run or maybe 7-8-0 run. Whatever it was, that was the difference. That kind of propelled us, our confidence, because we were able to keep those first guys fresh.
Right, and that's what it really does, is it keeps everybody fresh out on the floor. And
then you get to see other kids make shots. Like Kyle Irwin made a big 3 in the first half for us. Tristan made some shots that got his confidence going. So that was big.
Well, Coach, big win tonight, 55-43. That just puts a whole different flavor on what's going on in Viking camp, and it's going to make, hey, we've got a doubleheader coming up on Monday up at Prairie Farm.
Yeah.
You're going to have to work for that.
Yeah, I was happy with the boys. And Glenwood City, they are very scrappy, very physical team. They played really hard tonight. I was impressed with them. They never gave up. But I felt like our boys matched that and some.
Well, Dan even made the comment late in the game. He said the chances are getting really slim for Glenwood City, but they're still out there hustling and trying. And so hats off to them for that. They never quit and gave you guys something to work against.
Yep, it was good. Thank you for everything you guys do up here. Appreciate it.
Well, congratulations on the big win. And we'll have more Viking postgame right after this timeout. Thank you.
And swingers your motor.
Yeah.
You're tuned to the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV. We use advertising revenue to make this service available to you. If you have a business and would like to get your message out to our ever-increasing audience, give us a call at 715-563-1749. We'll be happy to discuss our budget-friendly advertising packages with you. Get your business noticed on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV by calling 715-563-1749. You're tuned to the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLW.
I tell my son, I love you every single day. I love you. Now, my dad has never said that to me. Not because he doesn't love me, but because culturally it wasn't comfortable for him. Now that he's a grandfather, he says, I love you to my son every time he sees him. My advice to all the fathers out there, forget the cultural restrictions. They grow up way too fast for you to waste even a single precious moment.
Back here at Colfax High School, Viking postgame. Rick Olson along with Dan Petchow, Jeff Gust on the camera. And final score tonight, Vikings coming out on top, 55-43. Dan, why don't you fill us in on how we got to that score?
Yeah, here's the score for Glenwood City tonight. They're led by number 5, Drew Olson with 12. We had Owen Swenby with 9. We had Brady McCarthy with 7. We had Mitch Belize with 6. We had Justin Moe and Alec Anderson with 4. And we had Maxwell Jansen with 2. For the Colfax Vikings, they were led by number 10, Elijah Enspanger with 18 points, followed by Ryan Albrecht with 11. We had Tristan Lenz with 8. We had Kyle Irwin with 6. We had Nate Hajdukovic with 5. Bryce Sikora with 4. And Mitch Medine and Austin Swanson with 2.
And Viking floor sweeper extraordinaire Joe has just come up and gave him a little fist bump and told him I really enjoyed his sweeping of the floor at halftime. He was dancing to the music and jumping around and having a great time. Joe is leaving us and heading over into the Chippewa area, and Colfax has lost his Chippewa's gained, that's for sure, but he's welcome back anytime. So anyway, your numbers came out to the Vikings coming out on top, 55-43. Vikings got a lot of people into the action. How many guys ended up on the scoring chart?
Yeah, I think I figured 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Well,
Deep bench tonight.
Anytime you get more than 5 or 6, you know you're spreading it out and showing some balanced scoring, and the Vikings did that tonight.
Yeah, and I think that's what Coach was talking about, that he got more guys in tonight, got good changes, and it helps if the guys score.
Well, you know, you talked about more of this and more of that. Well, we've got more basketball coming up tomorrow right here on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV as the Viking girls head down to Durand to take on the Durand Panthers in a Dunn St. Croix Conference matchup that could have first place ramifications. Live coverage begins with Viking pregame starting at 6:55, and that'll be followed by all the live play-by-play action. That's Viking girls basketball tomorrow night on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV. Then don't forget, coming up on Monday, we've got a full night of basketball for you. That's on January 31st. The Viking boys are going to travel to Prairie Farm to take on the Prairie Farm Panthers in part 1 of a boy-girl doubleheader. Live coverage is going to begin with Viking pregame. That's going to start at 5:25-ish. And it'll be followed by all the live play-by-play of that game. Then, also going up to Prairie Farm, the Viking girls will take on the Panthers, and that'll be shortly after the boys' game is complete. That's Colfax boys and girls basketball Monday night on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV. The Bloomer Colfax Wrestling Raptors will be in action tomorrow night when they travel to Abbotsford to take on the Abbotsford Falcons. This is the conference crossover dual meet, and it's their final dual meet of the season as they get ready for the conference tournament that's coming up. Now, tonight's Colfax High School basketball game has been brought to you by the Colfax Animal Hospital, Dairy State Bank, Anderson Bridges, Slayton's Technology, Pleasant Valley Properties, Aaron's Custom Baling, Fit Fam Nutrition of Colfax, and Kyle's Buff and Shine. Be sure to thank these fine sponsors for bringing you Colfax Viking basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV. For Dan Petschow and Jeff Gust, this is Rick Olson. Final score once again, Vikings 55, Glenwood City Hilltoppers 43. You've been tuned to Viking Postgame on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV.
You've been listening to Viking Postgame, a wrap-up of today's Colfax Viking boys game. You can catch Colfax Vikings games by tuning in to any of the Northern Light Webcasting Network outlets. This has been a production of the Northern Light Webcasting Network.